Yo, what is up, everybody? Trader Mayne here. Wanted to just get a quick video out. I did a stream on Wednesday, I think. So want to just give a quick update because price has obviously gone up significantly. We had a 10% day on Bitcoin and Ethereum, some altcoins doing even more. And things are looking pretty good. I mean, the timeline is full bullish right now. I do think it is, funny, just watching the flip-flopping of people on Twitter. And, there's a lot of toxicity and people trying to say you were bearish at the lows or you were bullish at the top and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit in a tweet earlier, just being like, it doesn't really matter. Like, all that matters is your P&L. Are you making money? What gets said on Twitter by anyone, by you, by other people, that does not affect your P&L. Your P&L is your one and only kind of responsibility in trading, and it's a one-on-one sport. It's you versus the market, no one else. So Twitter clout points don't pay rent. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna clout farm, because you guys know I'm a clout farmer. I like to farm that clout. But it is funny to see, and someone who's been around multiple market cycles now, we've seen this song and dance before, right? Bulls get pumped at every little fucking uptick in a downtrend. Bears get stoked at every little downtick in an uptrend. And while this is a great looking candle, I do think this close was quite bullish. And I am going to be looking for longs. Let's remember, we went down 50% off of all-time high. A retrace is expected. Trying to claim victory and saying that all-time high is next is just kind of foolish. I mean, if you really think all-time high is next and you bought the lows and you're going to hold them all the way there, more power to you. But you're going to see a lot, like I said, you're going to see a lot of bottom calls on the way down, a lot of top calls on the way up. Do your best to ignore that shit. I mean, I take part in it because, it's fun and it is what it is. It's shit posting on Twitter to me, but don't take that stuff too seriously. You got to remember, a lot of people call bottom a bunch of times and are wrong, and then when they're right, that's the one that they focus on. So what I suggest for you, especially if you're new or if you missed the trade or something like that, is try not to pay attention to that shit, right? Where did you go wrong? Go look at where the low was put in. Can you kind of say, okay, well, here's why the low was put in there. This is some logic behind it, or here's where I messed up. This is a great time for kind of introspection, looking at your previous trades and trying to find what went right, what went wrong, writing in that journal and improving, right? If you're on Twitter and everyone's like, you missed the generational bottom and we're going back to all-time high and then 100K, you're going to feel like shit. But what I can tell you is if we are going back to all-time high, there's going to be plenty of time to get in longs, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line. As much as it seems like it, there are pullbacks along the way, right? And nothing goes down in a straight line, right? There are pullbacks along the way. So don't stress too much. And don't let anyone on Twitter kind of, shake you out of your trades or anything like that. You have to have your own trade plan, make your own decisions. You don't want to be reliant on anyone else. So as much as I enjoy taking part in the back and forth and stuff, like, at the end of the day, like, did you actually long? Did you call it in advance? Or are you just calling it after? Yada, yada, yada. All these things actually matter. And, did you actually take the trade yourself is the thing that matters the most, right? You can say you called it, and you could say, hey, I posted on Twitter. Did you buy? Because Twitter might have think you caught the low, but did you actually, right? So try to ignore that kind of stuff. Twitter is always super insufferable when we have any sort of volatility in either directions, because everyone wants to say, I told you so. Everyone wants to collect clout and make it seem like they're some fucking guru. Some of these people are trying to sell you shit, right? Keep that in mind. Not me, but some people are, so keep that in mind. We're going to take a quick look at Bitcoin here, because I did have a short setup that I was eyeing in stream. I did end up taking it, got stopped out for 1 hour, so I'm basically wrecked. But I did mention if I got stopped out on the short, the next 2 levels I was watching was 40 and 41,000, and we obviously blasted right through those. So we're in a very interesting area here. I did just include my little clout farming engagement post here, because we did tweet out and post in Discord that I was buying some spot, and that ended up being right at the bottom. And then when I thought the dollar was looking toppy, that was the higher low, and then boom. So I'll get rid of those because I thought that was fun. But again, what was my reasoning for wanting to buy spot here? this weekly order block. Remember, we had the weekly order block, we had the EQ get tapped, and we ran that previous week's low. So that was kind of the logic behind wanting to get into spot here, right? And then as you can kind of see, even just on the 12-hour, we never lost this 12-hour block, right? Like we held this thing the entire time. Boom, there's your fucking rally. And we are coming up into some resistance here. So, not a bad time to take some profits or just be careful, things like that. But, kudos if you caught the absolute low. Kudos if you caught the low here. If you're making money, I'm fucking happy for you. I'm making money too, so it's all good. But that was the logic behind the long. Remember, sweep of the previous week's low into that weekly order block. That's why we got bullish down there. And then we ended up having a pullback here that we expected. And then when we came up here, I thought maybe we get one more pullback lower and run this low, but that ended up being it, right? Below these lows, that ended up being all you got. And there's the result, right? So I shorted this level here, basically hoping for a bit more of a pullback and maybe one more stab down below this low. And then up. The expectation was up. Remember, I said we want to see either, this go up from here, basically, right? Or do something like this and put in a higher low relative to this low. But that was it. It ran this low. Boom. Rallied. End of the week. Stocks did retrace their pump. So that's kind of an interesting thing to pay attention to. But the end of the day, we're still down a lot from all-time high. Got a lot of resistance above us, but this is a good start, right? We've got a very clean break in market structure here. We've actually closed through on the daily both of those key levels that I had. So we'll have to see how the weekly closes, but this is the key level of market structure really before much higher. If we want to go up here, right? If we want to get to 50K, we got to get above these highs here, right? Because this is the swing high that generated the lower low, right? There's your lower high. Here's your lower high. This is your lower low, right? So as much as this is bullish, this could just be another lower high. We have to be aware of that. I'm not trying to, again, bear post or anything like that, but we got a lot of work to do before we're back at all-time high. And I think bulls are obviously very excited, rightly so. We've gone up quite a bit. And I do think there's a good chance that we go higher. But again, just be patient. You don't need to rush into things. If you miss this long, there will be other opportunities. So that was the reasoning for the long down here. Short obviously got stopped out. What are we looking at here now? If you look at the daily, right next to those two key SR levels, remember I got those key SR levels, SR, SR, SR. I explained that in the stream where these two levels come from. We've got a daily order block that's formed right here. Price is already showing that's respecting it a little bit. So my ideal situation now is we've got very clear structure here on the H4. You've got this range high here. Reject, reject, SFP, boom. So to me, if we get lucky, I don't know if we'll come back this deep. We might not. But if we get lucky and we come back to like 39, I think this is an area where you look to long. Probably put your stop down here somewhere. Below the box, right? Maybe below this low. Not all the way down here. That's too loose. But somewhere down here, that would be a long I'm interested in taking. If that comes. I don't know if we will get that deep of a pullback. We might just consolidate here and then rally. I don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see. It is a Friday. We're going into the weekend. So I'm not going to be longing right here. I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to see what happens. If we get a bit of a pullback, we drift back towards 39, then I'm interested in getting longs again. The only way that this gets uber bearish for me, I mean, obviously if we have a very harsh rejection here, right? And then we lose this. If we lose this area here, this becomes just a big deviation into resistance. And then I think we go much lower. So that's kind of the only bear case I see where we are at right now. But to me, this looks promising. It looks like good structure. I'm looking to buy the dip. I do want to see how the weekly candle closes, right? We do have that weekly bearish order block here as well. So if this weekly closes as a big pin bar and we close below 39K, that's bearish. But for now, that's looking like a really nice weekly candle. We are coming up into some resistance here, as I mentioned. So let's see what the next 2 days show us, and then make our decisions based on that, right? So watching this resistance, looking for a pullback towards 39. If we get it, we might not. And then from there, I'd be interested in longing this pullback if we get one there, okay? So that's it for Bitcoin. Congratulations to the bulls. You won a trade. I'm happy for you. I think you can tell, who's been getting their fucking shit handed to them for the last 3 months based on how hyped they get over catching like one long that finally worked when all of these other longs failed. But regardless, like to me, like the whole bullish bearish thing, you were bullish at the highs, you were bearish at the lows, or bullish at the highs and bearish at the lows. So I said it right. That whole kind of thing I think is just kind of silly. Like I'm just looking to get in. If I think it's going up, I want to buy low, sell high. If I think it's going down, I want to sell high, buy back lower. That's all I really care about. It's not about being a bull or a fucking bear. Obviously, if we have some sort of massive trend change and we are going to start trending up again, the earlier, like here, right, massive trend change from a downtrend into a mega uptrend, the sooner you can spot that change in trend, the better, obviously, because there's a lot of money to be made when everything is going up. That being said, I do think it's a little early to just be like the bottom is absolutely in. We did break this trend line, right? So a lot of people are talking about that. So maybe we get a little back test, right? There's our 39K level. Maybe we get the little trend line back test. I don't know. But we did break this trend line here. But again, you can find a trend line to fit your bias, right? You could be like, okay, well, this trend line here is resistance, right? Or whatever. You can literally draw trend lines so many ways to fit your bias. They're kind of silly. This is a trend that I think is valid, but what does this trend line show you? It's just showing that we're making lower highs. That's all it is. Lower highs, right? So we've broken out. We've made a higher high relative to here, but this is the key swing high that generated the last swing low. So I like to use market structure to determine my trend as opposed to trend lines. So we're going to have to wait and see, but I do think this is a great looking candle. I do want to long the dip, assuming we don't just absolutely V-reverse this thing. I do think this is a good looking candle, and I'm just going to be patient right now. I got stopped out on my short. It's 1R, it's 2% of my trading account. It's like nothing to me, right? Water off the duck's back, right? It doesn't phase you when you go in with the plan, risk was managed, and you live with the result, right? And I had some great spot buys down here, right? So close those up into here. The money I made here, that one stop out, it's irrelevant, right? In trading, it's not, most people, if you're winning more trades than you lose, that's really, really good. You can be profitable with a 50%, even sub 50% strike rate. The key is that when you lose smaller than you win, right? When you win bigger than you lose, right? So if that's asymmetric risk reward, 2-to-1, 3-to-1s, that way, yeah, I lose 1R, but when I win 3R, right? So it's all good, baby. But yeah, stoked to see, just more than anything, some volatility, right? This range was a little bit boring. One more thing I want to share here that worked out really well was the Monday range strategy. So we talked about this here. We ran the range high. I said, I think we'll take the range low next. Ran the range low. I put the little magnet here in honor of our boy Rookie down there. And then a good long opportunity, honestly, was when we ran the range low, but then failed to trade lower. And we ended up, this was an SFP as well on the daily and the H12. This is a swing failure pattern. Right? See that? Ran the range high, SFP'd the range low. What happened when we SFP'd the high? We pulled back. What happened when we SFP'd the low? Boom. So usually what I find within these types of ranges is if it runs one side to the other, right, and doesn't get continuation, that means it's going to break out the other way. So if this was in reverse, right, if it ran the low and then the high, but then didn't continue out of the high, it's likely going to continue to the downside, right? So that's exactly what we saw here, right? We ran the high, ran the low, didn't get continuation, closed back within, closed as an SFP. There's your little bullish order block tag right there. And then this thing launched. Your risk would have been there on either entering on this candle that broke back in the range, maybe one of these pullbacks. So that worked well as well, and that is one I shared on Twitter and Discord too. So hopefully some of you guys were in longs and are feeling good and made some money. That's what it's all about. A couple of the altcoins that we charted in the last stream or 2 streams ago, saw some bounces here. What is this level? 12 hour? I think it's the daily. What the fuck is this order block? Where did I draw it from? Is it this candle? I need to know. I need to know now. What the fuck? I don't know. But this was support. Obviously, this order block here, right? The 3-day order block. The 12-hour order block. I don't know why I drew it funny. Maybe I accidentally drug it after I drew it. I accidentally clicked and it moved. But this clearly acted as support. Nice rally away now. A lot of these alts, if we can break market structure, pullbacks are for longing, right? Thing you're seeing right now, right, is Bitcoin is up a lot, and a lot of these alts don't look as bullish. Why might that be? Well, if you go watch that last video, we talked about Bitcoin dominance being bullish. If Bitcoin dominance continues to go up, that means if we continue to rally, it's going to be a Bitcoin-led rally, at least initially. And then when Bitcoin dominance falls off, that's when altcoins have their fun, right? But one held support very nicely. Sol, we talked about this as well, right? I said, I think this is good temporary support up to as high as 124, 125. Boom. Moving up, right? What does bullish market structure look like? This is what I'm talking about. There's a low. We ran that low into my level. We put in a higher low. Now you got to be in buy mode. There's a pullback. There's a pullback. Maybe we get another one to here, or maybe it breaks out, right? And then we get a pullback. I don't know, but this is bullish market structure. Hit the level, low, lower low, higher low. You're in buy mode now, right? Up into our resistance that we had marked. So that one played out well. Luna, exact same thing, right? This was our high time frame zone. I talked about this being a weekly, and I said obviously it can trade deeper into it if Bitcoin continues to, dick around. It tagged the zone, traded into it more deeply. I had marked out this daily order block. I said it could come as low as here. That would be the next area. We were first talking about it here. I said it could come as low as here. Ping that to the pip almost. Exact same thing, right? There's your low, lower low, higher low. It's like an inverse head shoulders. What is an inverse head shoulders? It's just market structure. And now it's trending. Our target on this is still 62. So nothing's changed there. Stocks rejected from my level, right? So I've been fucking crushing stocks. I'm not going to lie. Rejected from my level. So got our bounce, rejected from my level. And it did end up giving back a lot of the gains that it made the other day. Like we had this nice little up day on Thursday, gave back most of that, but it is holding this floor. I'd like to see this floor hold, I think, ideally on the S&P, and ultimately it needs to get above here. It needs to get above 45.80 if this thing's going to go back on a rip towards all-time high. If it loses this, I think it's going to trade down and back into this consolidation. Okay. My stock trade that I shared, up an entire $1. I shared this at $2. It's up, went up almost, it's up 50+%. At one point, it was up 75%. Stoked on this one, Bitcoin mining company. I posted that I thought the dollar looked kind of toppy here. Big 3-day SFP. And what was this confluent with? The dollar pulling back. And Bitcoin going up. Like I said, there's an inverse correlation. The dollar is the denominator of this fraction, right? So definitely something you want to pay attention to. It's not always 1-to-1, right? But if the dollar is weak, generally that's a good sign for Bitcoin. Okay? So that's all I got. Just quick 20-minute update for you guys. I will be back Sunday for a live stream. I'm going to be recording a video tomorrow as well. So lots more content coming up for you guys. If you like these videos, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, comment on the tweets, things like that. And yeah, hope everyone has a good weekend. Talk to you soon.